On Cafecito con los Escobar, Arturo and Silvia Escobar bring you a special conversation with attorney Emi Morales. With over 20 years of experience in real estate and bankruptcy, Emi has helped individuals and businesses navigate complex legal situations with strategy and clarity. Stick around for a conversation full of value.
Welcome to one more episode of Cafecito con los Escobar. We dedicate this podcast to inform you. We provide teams that are very important for the community. And we enjoy doing this because we like to empower people to make better choices, better decisions. And this day, you are going to have a treat. We have a special friend here, and I'm going to ask Silvia to introduce her.
Emi Morales, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you.
No, thanks for having me. I feel honored.
It's such an honor for us to know you, to get to work with you. We thought we would spend our time together talking about, two or three different things, but we want to start with knowing a little bit more about you. So we know that you're an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
We know that you're our real estate attorney.
Yes.
And so we work with you all the time. I'm so curious to hear your story. Like,
Yeah.
what was, where do you come from? Who are your parents? And
Mhm.
then how did you come to become an attorney?
Yeah, great. How much time do we have? Just kidding. Well, I'm born and raised in Elgin. So anyone who really knows me knows that I'm a big Elginite. I love my town, especially because I feel that I'm a product of my community. I really feel that the people I've met along the way have really shaped who I am and where I am today. But born in Elgin, my parents, Victor and Lupe Morales, and we grew up on the east side of Elgin. My parents were really focused and thought it was important to put us in a school to educate us, and so they chose a Catholic school. It was really important to them that we had that Catholic upbringing, but also that school education that was very orderly. We wore uniforms, so they really put a lot of emphasis on our education. And so they made that really important. And so I went to St. Joseph, I went to Catholic school, and then I went to St. Edward, a Catholic school after that. And once I graduated, I went to DePaul University. Growing up, I did have an uncle who was an attorney, so I had firsthand view of kind of, well, what does he do? And, I enjoyed that where we went, people always came up to him, and a few times I got to go to his office, and I got to see how he assisted and helped people and in their language and just made people feel so comfortable. And I think many of us also, first generation, can identify with maybe translating for our parents or going to the doctor or papers that came in the mail. And so obviously we did that too for our family. And those circumstances kind of put me at least into a path of like, maybe that's what I want to do. I'm already doing it here. And, I wanted to make sure that it just kind of instilled that path, I think, into me of wanting to be an attorney later on. And then also seeing him do it, I think really reaffirmed that for me.
So role models are very important in the life of people, right?
Yeah, and I think it's so important that people can see someone like them and know that it's achievable, I remember a while back, I was talking to my younger cousins and we were like, well, what do you want to do when you grow up, or where do you want to go to college? And one of them said, go to college? And I was like, yeah, where are you going to go? And she's like, oh, I can go? And I was like, yeah, you can go. And she's like, I didn't know I could go. Like, what do you need? And it's just even those conversations having with them, because no one had spoken to her before about going to college,
Right.
And unfortunately, and sometimes in some schools, there's so many kids and you can get lost in the shuffle. So it's really important to have a role model or someone that's having those conversations so that they know I can do it too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You mentioned one of the things that about your parents putting you in in a
Yeah.
school
Yeah.
where maybe there weren't as many people like
Yeah.
you. Can you speak
Yeah.
a little bit
I
about
don't
that?
really want to talk too much because my mom, if she watches this, she'll be like, I told you, but in high school, I really wanted to go to the public school, where I went, we were such a minority. There was maybe a handful of other Latino students there. And so, at times you can feel lost and really not able to identify with other people. And so I really wanted to go public and I begged to go public and they were like, no, you're staying there. You're on that path. And in retrospect, I'm thankful for it because it really made me focus. There was nothing to do. So I got involved in everything. I was in Spanish club, yearbook, student council. Like I was like, well, I might as well make the best of it. Let me keep myself busy here. And I just joined every group possible to make the time go by, but that then put me into different situations that I maybe never would have done before or outside of that. And that also introduced me to other people that I would then re-encounter later on in life, but it also made me feel comfortable in settings that maybe weren't for me at that time, or I was the minority, and I felt comfortable because I had done that pretty much all my life then.
Yeah.
Talking about uncomfortable settings, entering in your professional life, have you been put in the places also that you feel uncomfortable? Have you
Absolutely.
felt pushed away by other professionals?
Yeah, it's
As a Latino woman, I should say.
yeah, absolutely. I do remember going to court one time, and stepping up and the judge was like, where's your attorney? And I'm like, I am the lawyer, I am the attorney, so it's also those perceptions, breaking those perceptions, even for someone in power like the judge. But then in the real estate sector, you come in and you're female and you're Hispanic, you're Latina, and you have maybe some elder attorneys who have been in this business for a long time, and they think maybe I don't know my stuff or anything. And, so it's really coming in and knowing I know what I'm doing,
Yes.
and here you go. Yeah. So
Exactly.
really,
I've seen you in difficult situations and you always win. So it's
I
a
have a
win for
motto.
you and for our
That's right.
clients.
At the end of the day, the goal is to maybe not necessarily win, but something that's comfortable for all the parties, especially in real estate. I'm like, look, we wanted the house. You want to sell the house. I don't see why we're arguing here other than let's try to find a resolution. So I've really always try to be, really pragmatic and figure out what we can do to just get to that place. I'm at the end of the day, my ego shouldn't get in between your client buying the house.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, and I've always been a big proponent that this is such a big milestone for our clients buying. A lot of times it's their first house. We want to make it memorable for them. We want to make it a memory that they remember. Like, I remember when I bought my first house and all these things. And sometimes getting involved in all that, is unnecessary. And we want to bring it back to what it's about.
Yes, that's great. I want to go a little bit back to, we have a lot of parents who are listening, right? And you're a parent, we're parents. What do you find thinking back about, your upbringing that you think would be great for parents to encourage their kids? And you talk about, having role models, having a conversation, but is there something else that you would say, this is really important and this was really important for me growing up?
Yeah. I think in looking back, getting involved in sports or clubs and organizations is really important to just even diversifying varying your mentality on different things and meeting new people. And, it keeps them very, what is called disciplined. It's hard. My daughters are both in competitive dance and stuff, and it's a lot of work, but it keeps them focused and it keeps them disciplined. They know they have to be there. They know that they have to have good grades or they're not going to be dancing, so it's really keeping what they enjoy, but also knowing that they have a responsibility too, and it was the same with growing up. We always knew that we had to have good grades. Like there was nothing around that. That wasn't ever questionable in our family, and I think too, also starting to instill in them, like talking about college and stuff like that, or what they want to do in life, because it needs to be just a common conversation, but also it should be expected. And if you don't have that conversation with them, I remember for me, I didn't ever think that college was not an option because my parents, my mom specifically, always spoke about that, or my older cousins were always like, where they're going to go or what they're going to do. So I just always thought that's expected of me. I don't have a choice not to go. Like I never thought that was not that was an option not to. So I think it's the same with my kids. I've already talked to them like, oh, well, what do you want to do when you grow older? What colleges do you like? And it's already putting that into their brain. So they're not stepping away from their path yet of, well, no, and I think it's okay to revisit as you get older. I also believe that college may not be for everyone, but I also think there's traits, and that you can be successful as long as you really love what you do and you're passionate about it. But you have to have that passion or that love for something. You can't just say, well, I'm not going to do anything. No, that's not okay,
Yeah.
But yeah, I do believe that depending on your child, there might be a different path, but you need to start off with letting them know that this is kind of expected of you, and then your child.
So leadership skills begin at home.
Yeah.
So, and now that you have applied all the leaderships, all the influence that you have from your parents, your uncle, people that you were put in a situation that you had to succeed or be the best. So how does it feel now that you have your own firm?
Yeah.
You're the leader of the group.
Yeah.
How does it make you
exhausting.
feel?
No, I love to bring my kids, and I try to bring them as much as I can because I also want them to realize the hard work that goes into it and the sacrifices that we make as a family. I'm very lucky that this career allows me the opportunity to not miss things for my children. School masses, if they're speaking, I'm there. Field trips, I'm always signed up. School parties, I'm there. Their school knows who I am. I'm very involved. And also with their sports and stuff, I don't miss it. It's very rare that I'll miss something. And so that's allowed me to do that. But at the same time, it's allows sacrifices. I don't always get to take them to their practices, or I might not always get home in time to do homework, and I'll check it, but they have to do it themselves. So there is these things. Sometimes I very rarely will ever pick them up from school. My mom does and brings them home and gets them, so when I get home. So there's these sacrifices we have to make, but I'm very proud that they get to see the hard work and labor that goes into something and know that they are also able to do that for themselves, But I think that the way that they can see that mom is doing this for us really helps, Yeah.
So one of the things that we know about you is that you're the chair of Centro de Información,
Yeah.
and it's such a great organization.
Yes.
We had the opportunity to go to their fundraising banquet, and it's just so awesome the people that you've been able to get involved in understanding what the community is going through.
Right.
Can you speak a little bit about what you've seen and where do you see the Latino families, struggling? Where are the possibilities?
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Well, as everyone knows, this last year has been a whirlwind, and it's probably been some of the hardest times for Centro de Información and other organizations in the area. Again, I love my community. Like I said, I'm a product of the community, and Centro is such a big facet of that. They've been around for over 50 years, and they have been a welcoming center for immigrants coming. And this past year has been really detrimental because of everything going on with the federal government. So we've really had to pivot to be able to help our community. And that looks like a large spectrum because it's assisting in taking groceries to families or taking their kids to school, all the way to getting legal assistance or even assisting them in deportations. And so it's a wide range of services while still helping those that maybe need assistance still in acculturating into our society, So Centro has really been spread thin, and so a lot of members in our community have really stepped up to assist our immigrant community and really just getting through these hard times right now. Things luckily have seemed to come down just a little bit, and hopefully we'll see a pathway in the future in order to be able to give people a better quality and standard of life. That's no way to live. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So when it comes to, so what would you like families to know? So what do you, people who are listening and they say they've gone through everything that you're talking about, like the big array of challenges. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I think, really it's day by day, every day is a new day, but, que siguen adelante still, you still got to keep, going to work and instilling in your kids and creating that future with them, creating that identity for them. So, I mean, you don't know who you're raising. They might be raising the next president, they might be raising, the next attorney or mayor or something, and really that's also something to focus on, that better life that all our parents came to give us,
Yeah.
So you do believe in the Latino community. You think to this
Absolutely. We're like
power in
the fastest growing minority, our time is coming, so and with that, I mean, our time is coming. We see it now, we are now with second generation purchasing properties and creating generational wealth, and we're really trying to do really a lot of outreach and educational seminars to educate what's the next step, because our people are there, maybe we've already bought a house, now we're investing, or now we're investing into our child's college education and having a 529 plan, but it's creating a will or trust now, or buying investment for our business. So we're really at these pivotal steps of growing, and we're at a good place. And I think it's really our job to get out there and educate and inform.
although it's a difficult time, but it's a time that is
Yeah. An
pushing
empowering
all of
time.
us,
Yeah.
to get better, to prove the value that we have, and sometimes we don't have the opportunity.
We all know
But
we're hard workers.
hustling
So
and hardworking
yeah.
gets us there.
Yes. That's in our blood.
Awesome.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is.
Speaking of education, so May 16th, you're going to be coming and joining us at our next seminar. You're going to be talking about estate planning.
Yes.
And so tell us a little bit about why people should come. What is important about that?
It's so important. If I can tell you one thing that's important, and maybe people don't think it's important right now because their family's never been in this situations, because maybe they didn't own a home before, or they just immigrated a couple years back and stuff. So it's not known yet, and now it's becoming more of an issue that we're seeing in our community, where they don't have the right documentation for preparation for hard times. And so we've seen where they're like, well, we didn't know we had a house and it wasn't this person's name que nos ayudó a firmar, and now it's trying to figure out how to fix all those problems for them. So I think they just need to come and hear exactly what it's about and what it does to protect you, and how it creates generational wealth, and how it passes over properties to the next generation, but also protects you and your children from liabilities and maybe other circumstances that you have never thought about. So this is something you probably never thought about. Just come and listen, get informed. You don't have to do anything that day other than just get educated.
That's a good point. Yes. So when you talk about final thoughts, what does building a legacy mean to you?
Oh, man. I think really building a legacy really means opening that door for that next person. And here at our law firm, we have plenty of interns all the time coming in, and it's one of my favorite things, because we try to make it fun and enjoyable, but really teaching them so that we're creating that next attorney, but also instilling in them the pride that it brings, how it fills our heart when people leave here knowing exactly what their legal remedies are. It's, for me too, it's such an honor to be able to speak to someone in their language and know that they understand exactly what I'm saying, that they're not walking away still with questions or worries about, oh, is this the right thing? I didn't really understand, but I'm hopeful. And this attorney seems, no, like every step of the way, this is it. You're getting that information. So I think you're really just trying to do a good job out there, really trying to touch people's lives and leaving it a little bit better than it was.
Yeah. And we are so grateful that you take such a good care of our clients.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so
We treat them like family. We do, right? I mean, and I say it firsthand from you guys too, When I speak of you guys, I always say that it's not transactional. You guys become like lifelong members of their families, in every aspect, trying to get them to the right persons, so that, we aren't taking advantage or anything. We want to make sure they're getting to the right people that we know are going to take care of them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Emi, thank you so much for
Oh,
being
thank
with
you
us,
guys.
and we are so
Appreciate
looking
it.
forward to that estate planning workshop. It's going
Yes.
to be great.
Yeah,
and I
we're
know it's going to
excited.
help a lot of people.
Yes, it really will. Just come.
Yes, yes, just come. So that the seminar that's going to be in person is going to be in Spanish. And so as you can see, Emi and her colleagues also speak English. So if you want to come and maybe you don't understand a lot of the stuff, but you want to have a conversation after, you are more than welcome. But we will have a webinar on June 16th. And that one will be in English, and Emi will be there as well. So she'll be talking about wills and testaments. It's really important for us that you see the importance and the opportunity that you have to secure and protect your family in this way. So thank you again.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see you
Thanks
soon.
for your time.